Yes, indeed. Welcome into another episode of Total Hockey Now, the first 2026. Happy New Year, everybody. Over there is at Fuzzy Chris 91. I'm at Pucking Thoughts, Adam Bernard. Christopher Moraes, his Slapshot podcast, his most recent episode, Team Canada reaction just dropped. So after you're done with us, make sure you go over there and check that out. We will talk Team Canada as well here today. But we've got, 6 games left on the docket tonight. 4 tomorrow, including the Winter Classic. We got Mammoth are up 4-1 currently on the Islanders. I had kind of leaned towards the Islanders money line coming in, and I am glad I did not place that bet because that is not looking too good right now with 15:36 to go here in the third period. Seems like the Mammoth, it was business as usual despite being New Year's Eve, and maybe some of the Islanders who got to be home and maybe celebrate with family. Maybe not too much drinking, but maybe a little too much eating. New Year's Eve, a pretty good eating holiday too.
Yeah, most of those teams sometimes out of the gate look a little slow. Players indulge in a little bit of extra. So it's not surprising. But yes, 2026, New Year, same me, though. Still going to take shots at the Toronto Maple Leafs, who sit not dead last in the Atlantic, but the Battle of Ontario is going to be as who can finish last. It's the Sens and Leafs are going to give each other a run for their money.
Which 4 teams are going to suck the least? That's basically what it's going to.
Listen, somebody pointed out to me, because I didn't even realize this, the Winnipeg Jets are last in the NHL.
I was going through the notes for tonight's schedule, and I'm looking at stands. They are at wow, Nashville.
I knew they were bad, but somebody was like, they're last. I was like, wait a minute, what? And lo and behold, they are. They are last.
And it doesn't help that the top 3 teams in that division, and we'll talk a little bit more about this later, but they're just, I think the 3 playoff spots for the Central Division, you can kind of just wrap those up. It's, we'll see the order. You can probably figure out the order right now too. But yeah, I have Mammoth on a power play right now. So looking to add to their 3-goal lead. Only 12 shots on goal for the Mammoth with 4 goals. Islanders 1 goal on 19 shots here. Earlier today, Ottawa comes from behind to beat the Capitals 4-3. Fabian Zetterlund gets the game-winning goal late in the game there. There's Milo, who's looking for some attention in 2026. Some things just don't change. So
he's cold here. It's cold in Canada. I know that we're not going to get on this debate about how cold it is in California, but it is freezing here. It is tough. And there's only so much your fur can do.
And your boy Clayton Keller has now made it 5-1 Mammoth. So this game pretty much over there. The goal scorers here. So he scores on the power play. Mikhail Sergachev earlier in the period. Second period, you had Schmaltz, Gunther with 2 of them, and Callum Ritchie has the lone Islanders goal. That game probably wrapped up. So why don't we let's look ahead to rest of the Thursday slate here. 10 games total. We already talked about the Mammoth here running away from the Islanders, and the Capitals coming from behind. The Senators beating the Capitals after trailing after the first period. There are a total of 6 more remaining games here. First up on the docket here for me is going to be the aforementioned Winnipeg Jets taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs here. You're looking on the money line right now. The Leafs are roughly about -135 favorites. Winnipeg +115. The total in that game is going to be 6. If you're looking for a spread play there, Toronto to cover a puck and a half +190. You're looking for a regulation play there, Toronto +115, Winnipeg +170. What do you got from this one coming up for probably the first of the 7 o'clocks tonight? All Canadian matchup.
All Canadian matchup. I'm going to assume Eric Comrie is going to start this game, since I think Hellebuck went yesterday. I'm going to be honest. I don't care for this game. I would have liked if it was Hellebuck, because then Joseph Woll versus Hellebuck, I would have probably taken the under. I can't trust Eric Comrie. We can't trust the Jets, man, because there's a good chance Gavin McKenna ends up in Winnipeg. And listen, if Winnipeg is a city, that's about as much as I can give them. But I'm just going to stay as far away from this game as humanly possible. This could end 2-1 or 6-5. There is no middle.
Yeah, so Winnipeg won 7-3 in their last 11, just to kind of illustrate how bad they've been. They've been outscored 37-25 in that span. So that just goes to show how good Connor Hellebuck is. They've got one win in their last 11 games, and their goal differential is only -12 in that stretch. That just goes to show you how good of a goalie Hellebuck is. With Wall going tonight, they've won his last 3 starts. Winnipeg can't score. Toronto's pretty good on home ice. Winnipeg's not great on the road. I'll take a chance on the Leafs money line -130 here. I found that at Circa. That's the way I'm going here. I mean, until Winnipeg proves they can go out, now, very well playing the Leafs on New Year's Day night in Canada, maybe that gets them going. But I'll take a chance on the Leafs here. They've looked a little bit better than Winnipeg has for sure lately.
A brave soul.
Brave soul. Hey, listen, somebody's got to do it. So that'll be the first game there. Next up here, we got the Detroit Red Wings at the Pittsburgh Penguins. Another 7:00 Eastern puck drop there. Looking at the goaltending matchup for this one, Artur Shilov's confirmed for the Penguins. More than likely Cam Talbot with John Gibson playing yesterday. The Penguins are 10-3-3 in their last 16 against Detroit. However, the Red Wings 11-3-2 in their last 16 games at a 30% power play clip during that stretch. And the Red Wings go as their power play goes. When they're hot like that, they're going to just rattle off wins. On the money line there, the Penguins -125 home favorites. +105, +110, depending on where you look for the Red Wings, underdogs on the road. Total in this one's going to be 6.5. And if you're looking for a puck line play here, Penguins -1.5 +190. Red Wings, I don't know if you'd want to get a puck-and-a-half to lay -220, but there you go. 60-minute line. Red Wings +165, Penguins 115 +115. You got a lean or a play on this one?
Absolutely. You said the 2 key words I was looking for here: Arthur Shilovs and Cam Talbot. So we're gonna go straight to the over because we do not trust Arthur Shilovs in any way, shape, or form. We most certainly do not trust Cam Talbot. I mean, he's no John Gibson, but even Gibson, through all his wins, both teams have a save percentage, like a team combined save percentage below 900. So that's right off the rip. It's not good. Penguins power play cooking. Red Wings power play cooking.
Yes.
Both teams have above average penalty kills, but if you give good teams the opportunities to score goals, they're going to do it at some point. So I expect this to be a track meet, back and forth, little to no defense, just pounding the net and below average goaltending. All of that screams over to me.
So I will also be taking the over 6.5 -105 on this one. All the reasons you stated. The one thing I will say is the Penguins are actually pretty disciplined, 6th lowest in that penalty minutes taken this year. So the Red Wings power play is strong, but who knows how many opportunities they get. So like I said, Penguins are staying disciplined. But yeah, if it's Talbot, Shilovs, I'm going to go with the over at 6.5. Something I kind of have a gut feeling about the Penguins on the money line tonight, but I'd much rather go with the total here. I like that better. So we're both on the over in that one. We'll see how many times we agree tonight. Looking at the next matchup here, Chris's Canadians are at the Carolina Hurricanes. Montreal 6-1. Bo Horvat limping on the bench here. One of the guys just named the Team Canada, going right off to the locker room. Let's see what happened here. I'm hoping it's just like a puck off the foot that hurts and he'll be back. I don't know. That don't look good. We'll see. Maybe there'll be a spot on Team Canada opening up here as quickly as he was named to it. With Montreal at Carolina tonight on the money line, you're looking at the Hurricanes -170 home favorites, Montreal +150. Total in this one right now is pretty much 6 across most books. On the puck line, Carolina -1.5 +148. Montreal getting one -160 puck-and-a-half -168. Regulation play here, Montreal +215, Carolina -210. Goaltending matchup for tonight, Jakob Dobes has been confirmed, and Brandon Boosie's probably going to go here. It's likely because who else do they got?
They don't listen. Once the Carolina Hurricanes figure out that they don't have to play Freddie Anderson very often, they're gonna win even more games. It's unfortunate that Kochetkov gets hurt because he's probably who the backup would have been. But Boosie's getting the start here. I had to dig deep into the archives of this to find the last time the Montreal Canadiens won a game in Carolina. And that was back in April of 2016. So I was 24, right? Now I'm old.
April of 2016.
April of 2016 is the last time the Montreal Canadiens picked up a win in Carolina. So it's been a minute. Every time Montreal heads to Carolina, they don't come out with a win. Now, a couple of things here. I would probably play the under at 6.5. I just think Montreal's not going to score enough because Boosie's that good. And the Carolina Hurricanes are all about generating offense. They average, I think they're like top 2 or top 3 behind pretty much Colorado in shots per game. They're better on the road than they are at home at generating shots, but it doesn't matter. The Montreal Canadiens don't shoot the puck enough. Doesn't matter what planet they're on. I can't take the in regulation because the Montreal Canadiens are like, you might as well skip the first 60 minutes, go straight to overtime. They've pulled some rabbits out of their hat here in Tampa Bay, in Florida as well, to pick up 3 out of 4 points. And the money line is just too juice for the Carolina Hurricanes. So I believe Carolina's going to win, and I'm banking on the empty net goal. So I'm going to take the Carolina Hurricanes to cover the puck line at -1.5. I feel like we're going to need an empty net goal to get here. That's how I feel this is going to go. But there is Montreal winning. If you want to drink the juice, you just take Carolina, money line straight up. It is what it is. It's basically free money.
All right. So you think under? I actually think over here. The Habs are 24-15 to the over this season. These teams rank 6th and 9th in scoring. Montreal's bottom third goals allowed. And it seems with the Hurricanes lately, either they score 4 or more or they allow 4 or more. So the over is at 6 at most books, but I actually found 6.5 plus 114 at DraftKings. I think we'll get over 6.5 tonight. Montreal 6-1-3 in their last 10 plus 13 goal differential in that stretch. Carolina, 5th best team scoring at home, 3.45 goals per game. So I think we will see some offense tonight. We'll see. That's why we each have our leans in the picks here. You go the way you want to go. He's got the Hurricanes -1.5 there. I think the Hurricanes ultimately win. Puck line maybe scares me a tiny bit, but I like to play. Lightning at Kings here. The last of the 7:00 Easterns for this New Year's Day night NHL slate. Nikita Kucherov's got a 5-game point streak, 9 total during that stretch, and the Kings are 2-5-2 in their last 9. Looking on the money line tonight, the Kings -113, home favorites there. Tampa Bay +100 or +101 at Circa, -120 +100 at most books. Total for this one is going to be 5.5. Looking at the puck line there, the Lightning getting a puck and a half -250. Kings to cover a puck and a half +215. Looking on a 60-minute line, Lightning +160, Kings +125. Goaltending matchup for tonight. As I refresh here, last time I looked, it looks like it's going to be Kemper and then maybe Jonas Johansson or Vasilevsky. Hasn't been confirmed one way or the other yet, but I like the under in this game no matter who starts.
I don't like if Kemper starts. He's been off for a minute. I don't really like it. The Kings are not great on home ice, so I don't know how I feel about this game overall. If I was going to go one way, I would lean Tampa Bay. That's how I would see it here. I expect it to be a close game. I think we may get caught by one of those empty net goals. I kind of push it to like 4-2 kind of thing. So I would lean Tampa Bay. That's about as far as I would go with this matchup. Even if Johansson starts, he hasn't been terrible this year. Like he's been
a good backup.
He's been good.
Yeah.
He has played a lot more than he usually does. And I think maybe Tampa Bay's realized that he can actually tend the net. So I don't think it's a massive downgrade if he does start over Vasilevsky. I just like Tampa Bay a lot better.
Kings and Lightning rank 2nd and 4th in terms of average goals allowed. Kings are 4th worst in goals scored per game. Outside of their 6-1 explosion over Anaheim on Saturday, the Kings haven't scored more than 2 goals in a game since December 4th. Kings are 23-15 to the under this season, so I'll take my chances with the under here. So I like that play. 2 more games to go on this Thursday evening here. We finally added a 7:00 Eastern puck drops. 8:30 Eastern, Stars at the Blackhawks. Stars 3.8 goals per game on the road this season, the highest in the NHL. Blackhawks are 2-9-1 in their last 12. During that stretch, minus 26 goal differential, a paltry 10.7 road power play clip, and 1.83 goals per game. Looking at the starting matchup here between the two teams tonight, it's Jake Ottinger versus Spencer Knight. Looking on the money line, the Stars are minus 175 road favorites, Blackhawks plus 155 home dogs. The total for this one is 6. Can get a 5.5 if you look around. On the puck line, Dallas minus a puck and a half plus 148. Chicago getting a puck and a half plus minus 170. If you're looking for a regulation play here on either of these teams, it's minus 110 for the Stars plus 220 for the Blackhawks. I'm going to take the Stars to win in regulation, and I can make an argument for the under here, but with Dallas being a potent road scoring team, I'm not going to touch that one. I don't feel strongly about this one, but I think Jake Ottinger has a good start. I'm tempted to go with the puck line with no Bedard, but I'll play it safer here. I know these two teams just played recently, but Dallas has been close. I know Buffalo beat them pretty good the other night, but with the way Chicago's playing, this is a good get right spot for Dallas.
I mean, Buffalo seems to be beating everybody, so it doesn't really matter who they play. I will take the over 5.5 here. That is a criminal number. DraftKings has it a minus 110, so I'm assuming somebody's asleep at the wheel here. For all the reasons you mentioned, Dallas is a potent offense on the road. They can bury the puck. Chicago, I know they play better on home ice. Spencer Knight has been good, but I mean, the Hawks just have nobody. They are decimated by injuries, and they're missing key players in that lineup. So I expect Dallas to get a few. I have very little faith in Jake Ottinger and the way that he operates. It seems like he's not quite there yet. His road numbers also, I think it's his road numbers that are not great. So I will go with the over here. Maybe we need the empty net goal to get it. Best case scenario is this game is like 3-2 for somebody with like 4 minutes left, because that usually bodes well for us. But even if it's 5-1, 6-1, I'm okay with that. I think Dallas can pound the net here.
We'll see again. A good get right spot here. The Matthew Schaefer puts one on the board for the Islanders to make it 5-2. As I just flashed the score up there. So if you had the over 6.5, congratulations. Matthew Schaefer just got you home. Did not make it for Team Canada. We'll talk about that in a little bit. We are going through the Thursday, and we're going to go through the Friday slate. Only 4 games, Winter Classic, all that good stuff. So last game we're going to get to on this one is the Predators at the Kraken. Seattle's got a 5-game point streak going, 4-0-1. Predators are 5-7 all time against Seattle. Looking on the money line here, you got the Predators slight road favorites in some spots. At South Point, they're both minus 110. Looking at the total here, excuse me, 5.5. If you're looking for a puck line play here, the Predators got cover a puck and a half plus 220. Kraken getting a puck and a half minus 260. Regulation play plus 140 for Nashville, plus 145 for Seattle. Starting goalies here, nothing confirmed yet, but I would assume we're going to get a Saros to Cord matchup unless they save him for Vancouver tomorrow. Although I would imagine you're going to play Cord tonight, Grubauer tomorrow. See. Any leans on this one?
Absolutely. Nashville straight up on the money line. Nashville's been like, they're cooking. They're not as terrible as they once were. But the main reason here is Steven Stamkos seems to have found his connection in Nashville here. It took him a year and a half. He collected some paychecks without doing very much, but he has scored 600 goals. The offense seems to be clicking a little bit, and Nashville can generate chances. This continues to be a team that they're just not scoring despite the players in the lineup. So they're relatively healthy. Seattle's offense is just, that can cure insomnia right there. It is so miserable to watch. I don't know if it's going to be a high scoring game, but I don't think the money line should be that close. Like, especially if you're splitting it both ways, that just seems disrespectful to the Predators. So I'll take their money line there. Maybe we need some overtime to get it done, but Nashville's offense just does everything for me. And the Kraken's offense I don't watch them for fun.
Predators are 5-1 in their last 6. I agree with the lean on the Predators, but I like the under at 5.5, under 5.5 minus 105 at DraftKings. Kraken are the top under team in the league at 23-14 to the under, and they're 14-5 to the under at home. And the Preds are 10-7 to the under on the road. And whatever thoughts of maybe a potential Islanders comeback is probably out the door now, because it's now 6-2, as it looks like Dylan Guenther has completed the hat trick. So good for him there as the Mammoth. Let's go watch the replay here. It's just a simple play up the boards. Kraus gains his own. Yeah, there you go. Just, goes 5-hole, finds its way through. Yeah, so it's 6-2 Mammoth. That one you could put it in the books.
Strong start there for Dylan Guenther to start the year. Good for him.
Whatever New Year's Eve tradition thing he did,
do it again.
Do it again every New Year's Eve and see what happens. Because he ate his Wheaties today. That's for sure. So I'm going to take the, like I said, I got the under -5.5. So just to recap the remaining games, you got the money line for the Predators -110. I've got the under 5.5. Stars Blackhawks, I like the Stars to win in regulation -110. You like the over 5.5. Lightning at Kings, I'll take the under 5.5. You're set even money. You're staying away. Canadians Hurricanes, I've got the you've got Carolina to cover 1.5 at +148. I got the over 6.5 +114. Red Wings Penguins, we're both on the over 6.5 -105. And then I'm going to take a stab on the Leafs money line tonight, because right now Winnipeg just can't get anything going. And if Hellbuck played last night, he's probably not playing today. I found it at -130 at Circa, so I'll take it there. But we still got to get to the Friday picks. But I think maybe let's but before we do that, why don't we talk a little Team Canada here? As looking at the roster was released, and looking at what we had last week, we were pretty close. I'm going to bring up how I have the line combinations set up. Please, if you Chris has his, or how he has set his up over at the Slapshot podcast, go and check that out later on here. But yeah, pretty close. The blue line you nailed. I'll give you credit. You got it right down the middle when we did this. Everything perfect. I think the only difference was maybe you had Schaefer instead of Sanheim for your extras. But other than that, and with the goaltenders, neither of the Avalanche's Wood brothers goes. It's going to be, now that Kemper's healthy, it's Thompson, Kemper, Binnington. Pretty much got the top. It was a couple of discrepancies, but overall, I think you went like 12 for 14 on the people who made it. And that's how I would, just like arbitrarily just setting up lines there. Crosby with McKinnon and Marner, and then McDavid with Hagel and Reinert. Then third line Suzuki between Celebrini and Braden Point, and then Cirelli between Brad Marchand and Tom Wilson, with the extras being Bo Horvat and Mark Stone. We did see Bo Horvat work off the ice a little while ago, so got to see what's going on there. And I do have to say, listen, and Macklin Celebrini, absolutely deserved it. And like, he gets the phone call yesterday morning and then goes out and has a hell of a game against the Wild. I was fortunate enough to be in the building yesterday. Great, they sweep the Wild on the season. That's nothing to sneeze at. If you're wild card crossover possibilities, listen, I know there's still a long season to go, but Askarov is looking like he can handle the workload and be a guy. Igor Chernyshov, what has he got? Like 7 points in like his first 7 games, 8 points in his first 7 games, or something like that. Like, he's got chemistry there with Celebrini. The fact that you lose a guy like Will Smith, and you think like, all right, well, there's a good reason for the Sharks to get derailed. No, they're just humming along there. Celebrini also, two-way guy too. I know, the international stage is going to be a little bit different there, but you could see he's playing on both ends of the rink. Like, he's got it going. He's the real deal.
Yeah, he's been playing well. He's definitely earned his spot. I think it was heading into yesterday's slate of games. The only players with more points than Celebrini were McKinnon and McDavid. So, like, having to look him in the eye and be like, "Hey, man, you're not making this team," would have been absolutely criminal. But I had Macklin Celebrini on the team for obvious reasons. I would actually play him in the top 6 somewhere with probably with McDavid. I want to see what Celebrini can do with some true skill around him. Like, no offense to the San Jose Sharks, but like, it's Celebrini, and that it's whoever else can play with him. I want to see
to illustrate that point. 62 points for Celebrini, obviously leads the team. Second place, Will Smith, 29 points.
Like there's you know what I mean? Like
A little bit of a gap there.
Celebrity's out here like pulling the whole train, you know? And playing him with some talented guys, I'm not necessarily worried about his defensive game because if you're playing
Either.
with guys like McDavid, or even, Crosby or however you want to put him in the top six, those guys can handle themselves, right? Like McDavid's defense is having the puck on his stick. That's basically how this turns. So I want to see him go out there, play with some of the best. You can move him up and down the lineup depending on where you are in the game. If you want to shelter him and, move some of the veteran presence up there to kind of defend the lead if you're leading, that's fine for me. The blue line is very, they basically said, hey, we took what worked at the Four Nations, we'll bring him back. I would have liked to have seen Schaefer there. Is he better than Travis Sanheim? Yes. And even if you didn't give Schaefer a ton of time, even if he was the extra most nights, just being around those guys sometimes helps you play a lot better. Or just
That's a scary thought. Matthew Schaefer playing a lot better.
But like you get to be around a lot of guys and see how they prepare and what it's like to be in the NHL. Kid's having fun. That would have been a vacation and a half for him. And again, you can shelter his minutes even if he does play. You don't have to send him out there for 25 minutes. You can give him his 14 minutes and play him when needed, and it'll be fine. But obviously, they decided to bring back the gang. We'll see that top four pairing though is gonna be heavily counted on to eat minutes and eat a lot of them. I don't want Drew Doughty out there a ton. He's probably gonna play his 15 minutes. I would say Shea Theodore's in the same boat. Theodore and Doughty could probably be switched out at any point for Harley and Sanheim, depending on what you need. The goaltending was a little bit. I mean, looking at Mackenzie Blackwood and going, no, it's certainly a choice, but I guess Doug Armstrong gets the vote to bring his guy. Jordan Binnington has struggled, and that is putting it nicely. The one benefit for him is that the team in front of him is not the same team that he has in St. Louis, so that may help him quite a bit. He's not going to get derailed.
I would think so.
He's not going to get derailed because listen, I was watching Colorado and St. Louis yesterday, and then I just turned the TV off at one point because St. Louis was just non-existent. The Colorado Avalanche were just doing what they wanted with them, and I was like, boy, what a tough night to be Jordan Binnington watching those guys skate around you. So really good assembly here. I was a little bit sad that Seth Jarvis didn't make it. I would have brought him over maybe a guy like Anthony Cirelli. I understand why Cirelli's there.
I think you have to bring Cirelli, but I'll get to that in a second.
I mean, listen, I get why you bring him because he is going to kill penalties. He does kill penalties with Brendan Hagel back in Tampa Bay. I feel like that was an easy play to just say, hey, bring him. I would have probably brought a guy like Jarvis over him. If you don't want to bring Jarvis, I would have brought a guy like Sam Bennett over him. I get what it is. It is, these are shorter tournaments that you want these guys to go out there and execute a task. He does exactly that. But overall, I think this is a good assembly. Sure, you can argue both sides, but Canada could send two full squads.
Absolutely.
And they'd meet in the finals. So I'm not necessarily, you can argue both way for it, but obviously that top six, I want to see how they build it. I want to see how they focus on the speed, how they split that up, and what roles some of these players are going to take on. Because again, all these guys here play prominent roles on their team. Now you're coming to the best of the best where you're going to be asked to maybe do something, a little out of what you're used to, right? Maybe you're not going to play 20 minutes a night. Maybe you have to, kill penalties and play 12 minutes, but we'll see how this group comes together.
So to me, I think that's why you have to build like a fourth line the way I have it there with Cirelli, Marchand, and Tom Wilson. That's your fourth line. They're going to go out and they're going to go make life hell for the other team's top line and set it up like that. I put Celebrini on the third line. I'm more of a balanced approach guy. Yeah, you can move him up, I think, but I think if you set it up kind of like that, you can, it's not to say shelter his minutes, but you give him a little bit of a better opportunity there. It's his first time representing Canada in the Olympics on this kind of stage. I think, yeah, you can't really go wrong with however you construct it and whoever you decide to really, between the two extras, if you decide to maybe start Mark Stone over Tom Wilson or something like that, you can't go wrong. It's Team Canada. So it's going to be I'm not looking forward for Team USA to face off against Canada. We'll see how their roster constructs, but this is pretty good. This is formidable no matter formidable no matter how you construct it.
Listen, Canada did pick up a gold medal at the Four Nations, in case anybody forgot. So, the build seems right. Now we just got to hope that they can come together and repeat it.
And I get the point about, bringing Schaefer, you bring him around a group like that. He gets to learn for the next time because he's going to be on the next. If they do NHL players again in 2030, he's going to be there. There's no debate about that. I kind of like that Cooper, goes with the guys he knows and trusts. They're going there. They're not going there for a vacation. Like, yes, Milan's beautiful. They're not there to sightsee. They're there to play hockey and bring home another goal to Canada, which I really hope doesn't happen. It would be really nice to see Team USA beat Canada when it matters. Or what's going to end up happening is Canada is going to somehow get upset along the way in some crazy fashion. Team USA will get a gold. And then all we'll have to hear is, yeah, but you didn't have to go through Canada to get it. So does it really count?
I don't see any of that happening.
I know. You see Canada beating whoever, USA, Sweden, whoever it is in the gold medal. But I mean, goaltending, that you kind of really, like you said, you could have brought one of the Avalanche guys instead, but like you said, Binnington will actually probably get rejuvenated by playing in front of competent NHL players, at least at the bare minimum, and not being hung out to dry as much. So yeah, good job by Team Canada there. See, Team USA is going to be next, and then we'll deal with Sweden and Finland later on. It has gone final in Long Island. It is a 7-2 victory there for the Utah Mammoth. Dylan Gunther, 3 goals. Nick Schmaltz, 2 goals. Sergachev at the power play goal and 2 assists. Clayton Keller power play goal and 2 assists. Just not a good day for the Islanders defensively there. Like we said, maybe ate a little too much at the New Year's Eve party last night. A little sluggish today.
I did not have the Mammoth scoring 7 today. I'll tell you that. I didn't think David Ritter's going to lit up like a Christmas tree. I thought the holidays were over.
Yeah, I mean, Riddick got pulled from that game too, but I mean, my God, just not a great outing overall.
It was definitely a below standard performance from the Islanders, who they've been a really good team. I can't even say mean things about them. They're a good team.
Dave, listen, and that's why, like, when I first looked at the game, like, oh, maybe a money line play here for the Islanders at home. Utah's been on the road. Oh, glad I didn't. Sometimes you forget to do something, and it's a good thing you didn't. So there we go. Let's get to the Friday slate here, because of course we got. It's kind of shows that the NHL's like Winter Classic is just like kind of like normally, like, I remember years where you'd be like, the Winter Classic's tomorrow, woo! Like, and I understand you can't do New Year's Day. You got the college football playoffs, and it was smart to not try and go against that. You're not going to get the casual sports fan in the United States to watch the Rangers and the Panthers play at the Marlins Stadium over Indiana, Ohio, Indiana, Alabama, or Ole Miss, Georgia. I get it. So you move it, and it's not the first time they've done that to avoid the NFL or to avoid a college football bowl game or something like that. Move to January 2nd. The year they played the Flyers. It was on a January 2nd. It wasn't January 1st. I think it was a Monday. But we'll get to that tomorrow. But the first game of this slate, and this is one I am not touching because both teams are just completely untrustworthy lately. Vegas Golden Knights at the Blues there. We don't have the goaltending matchups yet, but early lines there at DraftKings, Vegas -148 favorites, St. Louis +124 home dogs. Total is 5.5. Wanted to take the puck line with the Golden Knights. It's +170. Regulation victory +110 for Vegas, +180 for the Blues. Like I said, I've got nothing on this one. I can't try. I would love to smash the Vegas puck line on this one, but I can't trust them the way they're playing lately.
God, you said 5.5. So we have to put all the Christmas money that you got from grandma, grandpa, and all that stuff, and we got to put it on the over. The Golden Knights their goaltending has been questionable. That, like, Carter Hart's here, and he is not doing good. The save percentage is not where it needs to be, which is understandable because he hasn't played hockey in a long time. So, listen, the Blues are just terrible. There's just no way around it. I'm going to assume that Joel Hofer is going to get the start, and his numbers at home have just been and just not good. But he himself has not been very good. These are two below average teams defensively. Vegas has enough offensive upside. Maybe Jack Eichel plays this game. That's the bet I'm taking here. Sometimes in the trying to get the line early will play in your favor. I think this could be one of them where if Jack Eichel plays, that adds another level to the Golden Knights. The Blues have nothing. They may score a couple of goals because let's face it, Vegas is not Colorado by any means. So I'll take the over here at 5.5. You're telling me both teams combined to score 6 goals? Yeah, I think that could happen. It could be Golden Knights 5-1. Like it covers. They don't ask you how you did it. They just want you to get 6 goals between the two of them. So however they want to divvy it up, fine by me. But I'm taking the over there for sure.
You don't worry that just how, like, you're looking at the St. Louis Blues here who have not scored more than 2 goals in a game. I'm looking back here. Let's see. So they beat the Predators 3-2. In a loss, they haven't scored more than 2. It seems like in forever. I'm
not asking them to lead the way. I did 2 goals.
1
perfect.
2. Okay,
perfect. You went 2 goals and then let Vegas do the rest. Vegas can score. They can't defend. So, and if Jack Eichel's back in that line, all you're asking is for Vegas to score 4 goals and for the Blues to just pretend that you could be good. Just 2 goals and then mail it in. That's it. Mail it in. Or be even worse defensively. That's it.
We do have our resident Islanders fan checking in right after the game here. Oh my God, we suck. No save Dave today. Players drank too much the night before. I'd say that's something. That might be something to look forward to look at road teams versus home teams on New Year's Day. Because when you're home, you might still go to a friend's party or a teammate's party. And like I said, it's not just the drinking. Some guys will be like, "No, I'm not drinking tonight." Like, okay, but there's still good food out there. So you can't. If there's a nice plate of chicken franchise there, yeah, I'm going to indulge. Just how it is.
I mean, listen, they did not play well, and that's putting it nicely. they did not play well.
And it wasn't like they had a good first period and the wheels came off. Like it was not a good game. It was, this was borderline practice for Utah today. It's like wheeling around there. So all right, so you might be talking me into the over here as much as they're both a mess. This does open up a back-to-back for the Blues. They got the Canadians on Saturday night. So 2 games and 2 nights for them at home. Vegas, this is opening up a 3-game road trip as they'll go to Chicago and Winnipeg. Here's a chance for Vegas to go 3-0 on the road, if there ever was one. St. Louis, Chicago, and Winnipeg, right?
Start with the Blues. Give them a beating. That's it. 6-0. Done.
Puck line? Is that where you
I'm not feeling that comfortable with the Golden Knights. Stop.
Plus 170 right now with DK.
I do know that both teams will combine in some way to score 6 goals.
There we go. And by the end of this, I may when we review the picks, I'll make my decision if I'm going to tell you we're not there. Next up, we got the Winter Classic. 8:00 Eastern, Lone Depot Park, home of the Miami Marlins. The money line play here for both teams. Panthers minus 142, Rangers plus 120 at DK. Total here for this one is looking at a 5.5. It's a Winter Classic game, so no surprise there. You're looking at a puck line play. The Panthers to cover a puck and a half plus 180. Regulation play, Rangers plus 180, Panthers plus 110. Goalies have not been announced, but based on the way that Tarasov and Jonathan Quick played, Bobrovsky versus Sturkin, very likely unless somebody gets hurt or has a very bad stomach bug right before the game or something like that. So looking at this here, I don't like to play the totals at Winter Classics because they tend to either go wildly over or wildly under, and it's very, if it's a crappy ice service, that can make the pace choppy and keep scoring down, or it can lead to mistakes that end up in the back of the net. So I tend to not play totals here. Panthers against the spread, you could throw the home and away, the home stats here, I guess, to a degree because they're not in their building, but they're against the spread at home. They're 7-17 in the Rangers, 16-8 on the road. So puck line is out the window here for me either way. I'd really love to take the Rangers. They're my team. Winter Classic. They're better on the road, but they're 1-3-1 in their last 5. They've shown not too much life here to close the year. Here's the other thing that I'm looking at when I look at this game. The Panthers have accomplished a lot in the last couple of years. They've never played in an outdoor game before. So this actually means something to the Panthers franchise. I know we poo-poo the game and stuff like that. And yeah, I get it. They've won a Stanley Cup, but like it's just another feather in a cap of a team's dominant run to be like, oh, we've never played it. We were like one of the last teams to get an outdoor game. We want to make sure we win it at home. So there's a lot. I'll take the Panthers in regulation plus 110. That's my play.
Listen, I don't know why anybody's worried about this being an outdoor game. They are playing indoors. I just want to make this abundantly clear. This is not a Winter Classic.
But it's still ice surface being made in a non-traditional place. And I know they have the best of the best there, but it's a little different when you don't have the chilling system underneath that's built into the arenas and all that.
Listen, if I open my sunroof, I am not outdoors, which is exactly what we're doing here, okay? This is an indoor game. Right? They don't have to deal with the wind chill. They don't have to, nothing. They are indoors. Let's just, before, like, when people are like, why is it nobody watching the Winter Classic? This is a perfect example because there is no winter and they are playing indoors. They have basically opened the roof and said, hey, let's call it out. Like, imagine if they played in Toronto, right, where the Jays play, and they just said, well, just open the roof. You're like, it's not an outdoor game. That's indoors. That's it. So, all that aside, because again, the weather's going to be nice.
70 high of 73, low of 55. Sunny. Not even mostly sunny or partly cloudy. Sunny.
It's Florida hockey. That's exactly what it is. Some of you are going to go there in your shorts. Okay.
Probably everybody.
So again, not a Winter Classic. All that to say, I will take the Rangers just because they are a good road team. They're a good road team. I know they struggled a little bit over here, but I think this is going to be close. I don't buy into any of that narrative of the Panthers being like, oh, this is our first Winter Classic. It's not even a Winter Classic, buddy. It's not even.
They got the
call it what
jerseys.
You want.
They got the they used to call the Bruins on the Meth Bear. That's the Meth Panther, apparently.
Cool. It's not a Winter Classic. It is a game. It's basically a home game. They're inside a building surrounded by 4 walls. So I'll take the Rangers. They're a better road team. Panthers, yes, they play well at home, but I'm just not buying the Panthers right now. I'll buy the Rangers in what is probably the worst Winter Classic yet, because we'll see what they do next year and how much worse it'll be.
I also feel like just going into this, it just hasn't had the hype that a lot of the other ones had. I don't know why. And maybe we're all getting set up and it's going to be a fantastic hockey game.
I hope so. I hope so.
It's the standalone slot. It's 8:00 Eastern. Now the Blues Golden Knights game will be done. For a league that, all of a sudden doesn't stagger start times anymore and have games start at 30. They got 2 of them starting tomorrow night at 10:30 Eastern to make sure that Winter Classic is nice and over.
Yeah, nice.
So they don't have any overlap for the last 2 games we talk about.
And listen, they don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about the weather. And if it's going to snow, you don't have to worry about any of that. Listen, I'm just salty, just a little bit. Because I remember when the Winter Classic was like Pittsburgh and Buffalo and it's outside and it's snowing and Sidney Crosby scores a goal, or like the first Heritage Classic where like you could not feel your toes. Next year's Heritage Classic as well. There's going to be one, right? Winnipeg and Montreal. Like going to Winnipeg, like that's a Winter Classic. I get what you're trying to do, NHL. I hope it's a good game, because if this game stinks, then it's like, hey, the Winter Classic got no hype and the game was terrible.
And you got a banged up Panthers team. You got a Rangers team that's been pretty lackluster, I think would be the polite way to put it this season. You're putting it on a Friday night, which is a terrible night for TV. Like that's the worst night of the week, unless you're, even the NFL doesn't really do Friday night. But I get it. You had to pick your poison there, as either go against the CFB quarterfinals or that. So I get it. But yeah, I think the Panthers take care of business in regulation. There we go. 2 more games to go here. We got the Kraken at the Canucks, one of those aforementioned 10:30 Eastern puck drops there. Looking on the money line, the Canucks right now, heavy favorites, -192 at DraftKings, +160 for the Kraken. Total on that one's going to be a 5.5. You're looking for a puck line play there. Plus a puck and a half, -155 for the Kraken, minus a puck and a half, +130 for Vancouver. Regulation play is plus 235 for the Kraken, minus 120 for the Canucks. I mean, that Demko has not played well lately. Canucks haven't played well lately. I mean, I would lean over in this one just because Vancouver's one of the top over teams in the league. And you know my stupid opposite rules. They just played on Monday and it went under. Demko struggled lately. I know that people have thrown his name of maybe Carolina might be interested in him or Cam Talbot to go along with Bussy, but yeah, this is a lean. I think I'm staying away from this one.
Could not care. Once I'm done watching the Winter Classic, because of course I'm going to watch it because I'm a degenerate, I'm going to turn the TV off, go to bed.
You sure? Because this next one's a pretty good matchup here. Wild at Ducks.
Okay. Okay. I'll turn on this game and fall asleep to this one.
There you go. I think I lean over 6.5 here. Anaheim's the top over team in the league, 26-14, 14-6 the over at home. On their 8-2-1 stretch, the Wild have averaged 4.3 goals per game. So, they got 3 yesterday, and they probably should have had more. Askarov made some really nice saves yesterday. I don't know if you watched that game.
He did.
But
he did.
So that they, I bet the over on that, and it push. I had over 6.5. So obviously that missed, but yeah, that could have easily gone over both ways. Both goalies, Wallstead and Askarov, made some nice saves yesterday.
I would go with the over here as well. The Ducks can't defend, man. I remember it. Like, the Ducks are fun. Ducks are fun to watch. They just go out there and they score a bunch of goals. They give up a whole bunch of goals. Lucas Dostal looks absolutely terrible. This team, they can't defend, but here they are sitting. I don't know if they're still at the top of the Pacific, but they started the day there, and I can't explain how they got here, but they're fun to watch. So a lot of just back and forth, open ice hockey, which is exactly what I want to see. I might make it past midnight. Unlike yesterday, I might make it past midnight watching this game because there'll be just enough action.
I like when I get a nice 7:30 puck drop in my window. That's actually a really good matchup. You're talking, right now they're a point out of first place. Edmonton's got 46. Vegas and Anaheim have 45. The Sharks have 43. Vegas has got 2 games in hand on Anaheim. I still think the Ducks are a playoff team. Like, I think you can pencil them in. Like, I know Dostal hasn't looked good lately, but you might see.
I think they can figure it out. Yes, I think they can, but they're so erratic. Like, they'll get smashed and give up 7. You're like, how did this happen? And then they'll go back home, score 6. You're like, wait, who are you? I just think they're living through the pains of being a young hockey team. That's what they are. They're living through the highs and lows, right? Again, super fun team to watch. They are not boring. They are not boring, but try to figure out which Anaheim Ducks team is going to show up. Like, betting them to win, it's tough sometimes because you don't know what way it's going to go. But betting on them to either give up a whole bunch of goals or score a whole bunch, sign me up.
When they lost to the Sharks the other night, the Sharks had no business winning that game.
Nope.
None whatsoever. But sometimes that's how it goes. Sometimes that's how the breaks are. Looking at that Pacific Division, Edmonton, Vegas, Anaheim, San Jose, Kings, you might get all 3 California teams in the playoffs this year. I know there's still a lot of hockey to go, but this ties into the last thing I want to talk about with the Central Division. And this might be the year that finally forces the NHL to be like, all right, we need to go back to 1-8. Because you look at that Central right now, and they probably won't, because the NHL never does what they're supposed to do. But Colorado, obviously the juggernaut they are, 67 points. Dallas, 57. Minnesota, 55. I mean, that gets lost that the third place team in that division would have first place in the other 3 divisions by 4 points, 4 points, and 9 points. So you're going to have Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota. Just assume Colorado runs away with the top overall pick. So you're going to have the second and third best teams in the Western Conference meeting in the first round of the playoffs. And one of them's got to go. Then, assuming Colorado doesn't get upset by whoever the wild card team is, whether it's Nashville, Anaheim, San Jose, probably not happening. Then you're going to have the best team in the NHL versus the bet left over between the second and the third, and have one of those teams gone going into the conference final. How can that stand? I understand you have years where it's more balanced or not, but just go back to it hasn't worked. There's no rivalries in any of these divisions that somebody that's a fan of the team in Atlantic, when 2 teams in the Pacific get together, you go, oh, I got to stay up and watch that. It hasn't had that desired effect. Just keep the standings the way they are, but for the playoffs, just go to 1 through 8, and that's it.
I think what they wanted to do originally was, yes, create that rivalry, and they wanted to kind of balance it out, right? To make sure there's representation on both sides. We have never seen some of these divisions, the parity right now is there. So I feel like we don't need to protect certain, like, like the East and the West and kind of thing, especially with these divisions. There is no reason that, like, the team that finishes second and third in that division in the Central has to face each other. There's no reason Dallas and Minnesota should be meeting in the first round. I think the easiest way to solve this, if Gary doesn't, because Gary doesn't care. He truly doesn't care, and he keeps telling us it doesn't matter. But there's no reason that one of Colorado, Dallas, or Minnesota is going home in the first round. To do all that work, to have to face each other in the first round, there's no reason to do this. Take the top 2 teams in each division, right? Because make it worth something. Take the top 2 teams. You finish first, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, however you want. See them there. You make the playoffs. You will get 1, 2, 3, 4, depending on how your points are. And then the 4, call them wild card teams. Call them wild cards if you want. There's 4 wild card teams that can come from either side of the division. I want to see the best teams play in the playoffs. I don't want a scenario where the 9th or 10th place team in the West could have made the playoffs. But because the division and all this and all that, no. We don't need divisions, right? Have them so you can create, make sure travel is not as bad. You can kind of have those, I don't know if you want to call them rivalries, but sure, you'll build them. But when it comes to seeding and for playoffs, if you don't want to do 1 to 8, fine. Do the top 2 teams in each division, and then the 4 best teams from that conference. That's it. And if you can't make it, I mean, just get good. I don't know how else you want to put it. Build a team that's good. That's it. Finish in the top 2 spots of your division, or just, figure it out.
The other thing I'll say too is, even if you don't want to do it, if you don't want to do the reseeding like it used to be many years ago, because you still got to have the bracket. Everybody's got to have a bracket. I get it. At least going 1 through 8 to start the playoffs, at least set things up a little bit better. And then if you have upsets along the way, whatever. But I'm sorry for Dallas and Minnesota, that if they continue to have the seasons they have to have one of those teams. And I understand, it makes for a really exciting first round matchup. The NHL usually has good first round matchups regardless, and they're entertaining. Why would
I'm glad that those are good. I'm glad they're good matchups, but have them be in the second or conference final, not right off the rip.
You have 8 series going on in the first round. You can survive 2 or 3 of those being lackluster, even maybe 3 or 4. Once you get down, you're down to 4 series in the second round already. Wouldn't you rather have a better chance at 2 of those teams meeting up in the second round than burning them in the first? I don't know. This might be the year they do it, because if these 3 teams just keep playing at a tier above the rest of the league, they're going to be forced to look at it again.
I can't imagine ownership of all 3 of those teams looking at each other going, we have to play each other every year. You're trying to just one up some team from your division. Colorado's on this generational run. Minnesota goes out to get the second best defenseman, right? Dallas, they did all their work last year going to get Mikko Rantanen just so they can keep up with each other. And we're not even talking about Winnipeg, who, by the way, won the President's Trophy last year. So
and now have 34 points
and now are just the worst team of the league. But they're so good. That division is so good, and that's great. But I want to see as many teams as possible that have earned the right to be in the playoffs. That's it. Figure out. I don't care what you want to do, but I want to see the best teams make it. And this protection of, it's got to be the first 3 teams. No, give it to the first 2, and then let the rest of them figure it out. That's it. I would just have divisions so you could for scheduling, and then the rest be hey, you 1 to 8, figure it out. If all 6 of them come from the Atlantic, you know what I mean? Get good. I'm
not suggesting that we go Let's see. Patrick Waugh says Bo Horvat will see doctor tomorrow, and they will know then. So the fact that they even have to address the fact that he's got to see a doctor, that's not a good start.
It's never good when you got to see a doc.
Because if it wasn't a big deal, they'd be like, he took a, but he'll be fine. Give him a couple of days,
just walk it off, put some dirt on it.
But back to the playoff thing, it's at first I was like, just guarantee the 2 division winners, 1 and 2, and then it's how you fall after that. But
I would do that too.
I like your idea because it still preserves, like you said, like most of the time, the top 2 teams in each division are going to be top 4 in the conference anyway. But it protects against years like we talked about the Metropolitan the last couple of years. Like, does anybody want the 3 seed? Well, now that guards against that a little bit.
Exactly it. There's nobody crossing over per se. But that year where Washington just basically limped in because nobody else wanted it, like you don't have to protect that anymore. It's fine. If 2 teams come out of one division, it's just like it is what it is. Why are we penalizing good teams? There's money to be made there as well.
The thing that NHL I don't think realizes, like in college sports, there's a lot of conferences like, all right, Alabama and Auburn may hate each other, but if Auburn's playing for the national championship against Ohio State, maybe not Alabama's going to root for Auburn, but the rest of the SEC is going to, because they want their conference. It's not like nobody like, just if the Penguins get to the Stanley Cup Finals, I'm not rooting for them. I'm just not. Like the chances are, I mean, I can't think of a Western Conference team that I would dislike enough to be like, give me the Penguins. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not like that.
And then that would probably lead to the conversation because I'm sure most of this is for travel, but then you could maybe adopt the rule that they do in baseball, which is 2-3-2 instead of doing 2-2-1-1-1.
I would be stark. I cannot stand that system. Cannot stand it.
I don't know.
Because honestly, it's not as much of it's still an advantage to have Game 7 in your building, of course, but it's not as much of a disadvantage if you have 3 straight games in your building. That is one advantage you have. And I understand only one of those games is guaranteed, but you can build momentum 3 straight at home. But I mean, that's a whole other debate that we could do a whole hour on.
Why don't you do 2-3-1-1?
3-1-1.
You know what I mean? If travel is the most, like if you're sitting there going, I understand in the East it's not.
But even out West, like, okay, fine. So who's your easternmost team? The Chicago Blackhawks will say, like, okay, they have to go play Vancouver. And Chicago has always kind of been like the accepted, yeah, you're pretty far east, but it's a major hub. It's easy to get to pretty much any of these NHL cities from Chicago. So I don't think it's also not the same travel that it was 15, 20 years ago.
I know.
Or beyond.
I know.
So it's, these guys aren't rushing to catch a plane before the door closes. Like, it's a little different. They get off the, okay, 7:00 puck drop. You're off the ice at 9:30. You do your media, you take your shower, get on the bus. You're at the airport by 11:15. You're on the plane taking off probably 11:45, 2 hours after your game ended. And if it's a short flight, you're in your bed that night. So like the travel's it's not the same as it used to be. And they're like, yeah, obviously we don't want to go back to like the early 80s where it was 1-16 and you could have like Vancouver playing the Panthers in the first round. Like, okay, no, that can't be. But in the playoffs, like I think you're like just enough with this divisional based playoffs. Because what it also does too is that it kills some of the allure of standings hunt, positioning down the stretch. If like, I'm sure this is going to be the year they need to change it. I'm sorry, it has to.
Fix it, Gary.
It's like, all right, you look at like, even like, and there's still a lot of time to go, but like in the Atlantic, 9 points separate first from eighth. Metropolitan, it's 11. Pacific, it's 11. Central Division,
it's a million.
33. 33.
That's good. Like, look at next year, Winnipeg. Winnipeg's like, hey, we still think we can make the playoff. No, you can't. No, you can't. Not in your division, at least. No, you might get a wild card spot, which will evidently mean you have to play a team in your own division anyways.
Just to illustrate how strong those 3 teams are, and I know Utah just beat the doors off the Islanders today, but the Mammoth, the Predators, the Blues, the Blackhawks, the Jets. Who's going to challenge Minnesota or Dallas for one of those guaranteed spots because we're
Either
already
one.
writing off. No, not happening. I know Nashville's playing better. Not happening. I know Utah's a good hockey team. Not happening. Like,
No.
look at the Pacific Division. Like, okay, Vancouver's not going to the playoffs. Calgary, Seattle's probably not going to the playoffs. But any of those other 5 teams could win that division. Maybe not the Sharks could win the division. Maybe they're more of like the wild card tier. But that division in the Pacific right now, if you're one of those top 5 teams, you're 4-game winning streak away from having a decent lead.
You're right.
So, Atlantic, it's up for up for grabs. Metropolitan, it's probably going to be Carolina, but then after that, it's pretty open. Do we believe Detroit is going to win the division? They sit at the top of it right now, the Atlantic. Like,
no, no, stop. They have sub 900 goaltending. Stop.
That's what I'm saying. Like everything, like I know people are like, oh, the Leafs suck. They're not going to make the playoffs. The Leafs could win the Atlantic.
They could.
It's not out of the realm of possibility. They've had some terrible goaltending issues to deal with.
Listen, the Sens are a 7-game winning streak away.
That's the
and we can't even laugh and say it's impossible because Buffalo's won 10. So, like,
that's 5 points out of first, the Sabres.
I know. And we were clouding on them just a couple weeks ago. It was wild.
10-0-0. Only anyway, probably should wrap things up here. It's been a fun edition of Total Hockey Now to start the 2026 calendar year. Pretty much at the halfway point. I know some teams are at 39 games played or 41, but pretty much the NHL halfway point. So we're going to do next week. We'll talk fantasy bounce back candidates for the second half. Obviously Olympic schedule too is going to have a little bit of an impact on that. But also don't forget to go check out the Subway to Shea podcast. Our friend at Ant Rivera 86 spending his first New Year's Day with his first New Year's Day with a child, his son. So please, go support Subway to Shea. He'll be back next week. Tony Rivers, we love him here. At Rip and Riff took a week off. We'll be back myself at Mr. Jared Moore on Monday talking NFL playoff matchups as that'll get set up after this weekend. Chris's Falcons here can have a complete impact on the NFC South depending upon what it's like the NFL tiebreakers too. That needs to be discussed, but it's a whole other podcast. And of course, Slapshot podcast, Chris, just dropped.
That's true. I dug into a little bit of the lines that I want to see, players I want to see play together, right? You didn't bring Mark Stone all the way here to be the 13th forward, so you got to find somewhere for old man Stone to play, right? And he's not the wheels, right? So we got to find somewhere to go with him. We also got to figure out who's starting in goal. I know who it is, but I'll give you some good reasons why it should be Logan Thompson.
I would say Logan Thompson. I mean, just by process of elimination, I know Bennington won 4 Nations, but he has not been nearly good enough to, rest his laurels, make that his main argument. Kemper's been injury prone. Like Thompson's the guy. It's just to me, I don't want to say it's a no brainer, but last year Canada's problem is who are we supposed to start? Now you kind of have like all right, you have a guy that's like he gets the first crack. He has to play bad enough to lose it. That's how I feel. Also, fantasy1.com. That's NHL black guy over there.
Listen, I'll put the playbook together. Some underdog parlays as well. We're trying to make some green.
Some pizza money, as they like to say. But at Fuzzy Chris 91, I'm at Pucking Thoughts Adam Bernard. We are here with you Thursdays. True to our word. It's New Year's Day. We're here with you at our usual time, 5 o'clock Eastern. 2 o'clock Pacific. We'll be back with you next Thursday. Usual format. Thursday preview at 5:35 Eastern. We'll have some fantasy content and some futures for that. But thanks for watching. Have a happy New Year. And back next week.